This is more to vent than anything. Background. I, 34-year-old male, am married to my husband, 36-year-old male, and we recently celebrated our 7-year anniversary. I adore my husband's family. They're so lovely and warm to me. I came from a very different place, none of which I remember fondly. A lot of the things I went through have left me with severe emotional and psychological trauma that I'm in therapy for, and have been for about 4 years now. The only problem is my husband's youngest sister, 22-year-old female, I'll call Kim. Kim is nosy. She always feels like she needs to know about every aspect of a person's life. She targets this behavior towards me since I'm very private, especially about my past before I met my husband. I don't like talking about myself for very personal reasons, but that doesn't stop her from asking uncomfortable questions. Her parents and siblings have tried to talk to her about this, but it doesn't work. Normally I can brush off her questions, but this time I feel like she went too far. My husband and I had a small party for our anniversary Saturday. Kim was there, and she decided that she'd had enough of me ignoring her. During dinner, in front of everyone, Kim loudly demanded to know why I refused to talk about my past or my family. Why was I keeping so many secrets from them? Why won't I talk? She wouldn't let up. My husband, their parents, and our friends all told her to back off and sit down, but she wouldn't. I lost it. I got up and got in her face. I made myself just as loud as her. I told her she's not entitled to my past or my trauma. She doesn't need to know what happened to me, that she has no right to interrogate and humiliate me in my own home, and that if she couldn't act like an adult, then she needed to leave, because I wasn't going to put up with her. I think I genuinely scared her. The entire room went dead silent. She tried to talk again, but every time she did, I cut her off and told her to leave. She finally left. The rest of the guests also left not too long after, since the mood was pretty much ruined. As soon as everyone was gone, I broke down. My husband held me and comforted me as best he could. He told me how proud he was of me for standing up for myself, something I've had trouble doing in the past. The next morning, I woke up to texts from Kim and her parents. I hate confrontation. My husband helped me go through them. Kim was saying I made her look like a bad person for just being curious, and she expected an apology. My husband's parents, thankfully, were more understanding. They agreed that Kim had been the one in the wrong for starting with me, and I had every right to defend myself. My mother-in-law thinks I could have handled it better and not stooped to Kim's level. My husband says I don't have to apologize, since Kim was the one in the wrong. My husband's parents said they'd talk to Kim, but we haven't heard anything. I'm really anxious. Am I the idiot for not wanting to talk about my past? Update. Hello again. I've had some people DMing me and asking for an update on the Kim situation. Unfortunately, it's not a great one. I'll keep it brief. Also, thank you everyone for your kind words. They really helped me put some things into perspective. So, we usually spend Christmas together, with my in-laws and my husband's siblings. But after the anniversary dinner, I didn't feel comfortable being around Kim for a while. My husband understood, and we talked to his parents. They agreed, and we went over to their place on Christmas Eve instead, so it would just be us. It was a nice evening. The trouble came the next day. My husband and I decided to just stay home and have a nice, lazy day in together. Around noon, my husband got a call from Kim asking why he wasn't at their parents' house, and they were going to start opening gifts soon. My husband explained that we spent Christmas Eve with them and chose to stay home today. Kim got upset. She said this wouldn't happen if I just stopped being weird and talked about my past. Here's where things get difficult. My husband got angry with Kim. He's one of the very few people that I have opened up to, and he's pretty protective of me because of it. He told her that my not talking wasn't the problem, but her nosy behavior was. If she would just leave me alone, there wouldn't be an issue. That her attitude was the reason we couldn't get together and have fun, because she just wouldn't let it go. He even told her that until she could grow up and respect my boundaries, she was going to see a lot less of us, which really upset her. I could hear her crying before my husband hung up the phone. We cuddled the rest of the day. I love my husband so much, and I'm really grateful he has my back. Kim has been making posts about people not wanting to be honest and hiding dangerous secrets. It's a little scary. I don't understand why she's doing this. I don't think I'll update again. I don't want someone I know to find this. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. My mother-in-law thinks I could have handled it better and not stooped to Kim's level. I'm raising a pink flag with this one. Kim kept gunning for you, and as you said, you lost it. You were defending yourself. If Kim had been hitting you, you would have the right to punch back. Tell my mother-in-law that you also need an apology from her for this and for raising her daughter to be a verbally hurtful brat. Kim was harassing you, flat out, and you have more than a right to defend yourself. Explain this to my mother-in-law in no uncertain terms and block Kim from everything. She has no place in your life until she changes her behavior and apologizes sincerely for traumatizing you. Comment 2, not the idiot. I think you handled it brilliantly. People like Kim need to be confronted like that. She can dish it, but she can't take it. She thought bullying you in a semi-public setting would get what she wanted. But instead, she got what she deserved. So she's playing the victim. Boo-hoo. Play stupid games. Get stupid prizes. The only response to her whining text should be, when you are ready to apologize and act like a decent, mature adult, you are welcome back. Until then, you are not. And that message should come from both you and your husband. Now for the update. Hello again. First off, thanks to everyone who reached out after my last post. Your comments were a lifeline when I was drowning in stress. So, here's what's been going down with Kim since the anniversary blow-up. After the whole anniversary dinner showdown, things with Kim went from bad to worse. My husband and I had hoped for some peace, but that was wishful thinking. We'd been avoiding family gatherings to keep our distance from Kim, but she wasn't having any of it. My husband's family has this tradition of getting together every Sunday for dinner. It's been a thing since he was a kid. We'd skipped a few Sundays after the incident, but his mom's birthday was coming up, and we couldn't miss that. We thought it would be safe, a ceasefire for the sake of celebration. We were wrong. We arrived at my in-laws' place, and everything was fine at first. The house was filled with the smell of homemade lasagna, my mother-in-law's favorite. We all sat down, and the chatter was light and easy. Then Kim walked in, late as usual, and the tension spiked. She sat down across from me, and I could feel her eyes boring into me the whole meal. After dinner, when everyone was lounging in the living room, Kim cornered me while I was alone getting a drink. She started off with a half-hearted apology, saying she was sorry if she'd upset me, but that she felt like I was keeping my husband away from his family. I tried to keep my cool, told her it wasn't like that, but she wasn't listening. She said she'd seen me talking to her brother, my husband's older brother, at the party, and thought it was suspicious that I'd confide in him, but not the rest of them. Now, let me clarify something. My husband's older brother and I share a love for old cars. We'd been chatting about a restoration project, nothing more, but Kim had concocted this whole narrative in her head that I was spilling secrets to him and excluding everyone else. I tried to explain, but she cut me off, saying she knew I was hiding something big and that she'd find out one way or another. I was so taken aback by her accusation that I just walked away, my heart pounding. I found my husband and told him we needed to leave. He saw the look on my face and didn't ask any questions. We said our goodbyes and got out of there. The next few weeks were a blur of avoidance and anxiety. My husband and I were a united front, but the strain was showing. We'd have quiet nights in, trying to forget the drama, but it was like a shadow hanging over us. Then came the misunderstanding that threw everything off course. One evening, my husband's phone buzzed with a message from Kim. She'd sent a photo of a man I didn't recognize, claiming she'd seen me with him at a coffee shop, getting cozy. She was accusing me of cheating on my husband. My husband showed me the message, his face a mix of confusion and hurt. I felt sick. I'd never seen the man before in my life. We realized Kim must have followed me one day when I met with my therapist, who happened to be a man. She'd taken a photo from a distance, and the angle made it look like we were closer than we were. We were furious. My husband called Kim and put her on speaker. He demanded an explanation, and after some back and forth, the truth came out. Kim admitted she'd been following me, trying to dig up dirt. She thought if she could prove I was untrustworthy, I'd be forced to reveal my past. My husband was livid. He told her that she'd crossed a line and that her actions were not only invasive, but harmful. He explained that the man was my therapist and that her assumptions were not only wrong, but damaging. Kim was silent for a moment, and then she started crying, saying she just wanted to protect her brother. We ended the call with my husband warning Kim to stay away from us until she could respect our privacy. It was a mess, and we were both shaken up. The trust was broken, and we didn't know how to move forward from there. Kim has since been posting vague things online about trust and betrayal, which doesn't help the situation. It's like she's trying to paint herself as the victim in all this. It's frustrating and exhausting. Now, for the next story. My husband and I were married this past summer. It was a family-only event. The only friends invited were the maid of honor and the best man. We wanted it small. In total, there were a bit over 60 guests. Only one of my parents' siblings has children, my uncle with 6 to be precise. We joke that he made up for none of my aunts having kids. I'm an only child. Only one of my cousins is close to me, and I strongly wanted him and his girlfriend, who I'm also close to, in attendance. When I brought that up to my mom, she insisted that if I invite him, I also need to invite his siblings for fairness. That wasn't the plan initially, but whatever. An extra 5 guests. Invitations went out and we received RSVPs, yes from all, including 4 significant others of the cousins. Annoying, since we didn't invite our own friends to keep the numbers down, but I didn't want drama and just accepted it. The wedding was magical and went off without a hitch. My uncle's table was the only one not to participate in anything, but hey, their prerogative. We opened the gifts the next day and received a check for $1,000 from their name, family. A generous amount for sure, but a group gift that wasn't even individually signed. Again, fine, all gifts are appreciated. The cousin I'm actually close to snuck us a card with their own gift. Since then, 3 of my cousins have gotten engaged. The first was on short notice, planned in a matter of months. It was last weekend, and my husband and I were invited to the cocktail hour, but not the ceremony or dinner. Yet again, fine. It was only a 2-hour drive, so easy enough to pop over and then head home the same day. We said hi to everyone, but left early since it was mostly their friends with very few people we knew. Our gift was $250. Yesterday, I was shocked to see my newlywed cousin was calling. I figured she was doing the give a call instead of a formal thank you note thing. Nope, it was to berate me for being a selfish person and only gifting her a fraction of what she gave me. I was confused because the gift we received was technically from 7 couples. Her name wasn't even on the card. I tried to explain this since we really don't have the money to be gifting $1,000 for multiple weddings. She hung up on me. Since then, she has sent me multiple articles about manners and how you are meant to match the wedding gift you were given. I asked my parents how much they gave and found that they had given $1,000 as a gift from our family, specifically naming my husband and me on the card. So, I'm a little frustrated. If a family gift is appropriate, then the $250 we gave is a bonus, and the amount was matched. I didn't want to start anything, so I haven't pointed this out to my cousin. However, I'm still getting texts from her and her siblings about how greedy I am. We have been uninvited to the next cousin wedding because they don't want to waste money on trash like us that don't reciprocate. Are we really the ones at fault here? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Put out a group text showing that the family gift was not actually collected from members, and none of them signed the card. That your parents actually gave the gift and courteously put family on the card to not embarrass them. But since they are complaining about a gift you gave, you wanted everyone to know that they are complaining about something they didn't actually do to begin with. Show the whole family how terrible they are. RSVP yes, then don't show up. Comment 2. Absolutely not the idiot. Since they decided to go nuclear by uninviting you to future events and harassing you, I would send the cousins a comparison of $1,000 is less than $1,250 every time one of them texts you. I would also say that if they had basic manners and knew basic math, then they would understand that their actions lack maturity. I would also tell your uncle and parents about the treatment you've received. If it were my parents, they would be so angry. Now, for the update. 3 days ago, I was sitting at home, still reeling from the call with my newlywed cousin who had accused me of being selfish for the wedding gift we gave her. I was trying to shake off the feeling of being uninvited to the next cousin's wedding when my phone buzzed with a new message. It was from the cousin I'm actually close to, the one who had snuck us a separate wedding gift. He wanted to meet up and talk, saying it was urgent. We met at a local coffee shop the next day, and he looked more serious than I'd ever seen him. He explained that he overheard his sister, the one who had called me, bragging to their other siblings about how she manipulated the situation. Turns out, she had convinced my uncle to write the $1,000 check for our wedding, knowing full well that it would set a precedent for the gifts at their own weddings. She had planned to guilt-trip us into giving more than we could afford. I was shocked. My cousin and I had grown up together, playing in our grandparents' backyard, building forts and sharing secrets. He was the one who had taught me how to ride a bike after I had fallen off and scraped my knees a dozen times. And now, he was revealing a side of his family I never knew existed. The next twist came later that day when my husband came home from work. He had run into one of my other cousins, the one who was getting married next. They had a confrontation right there on the street. My husband, who had always been the calm and collected one, had lost his cool. He told my cousin about the manipulation and deceit that was going on behind our backs. My cousin was taken aback, having no idea about his sister's scheming. That evening, my phone was blowing up with messages from my cousins. They were apologizing, saying they had no idea about their sister's plan. They had always seen her as the responsible one, the one who organized family events and took care of their parents when they were ill. But now, they were seeing a different side of her. The following day, my parents called. They had heard about the drama and were furious. My mom, who had always been the peacemaker in the family, was especially upset. She had spent years making sure everyone got along, hosting family dinners every Sunday, and mediating arguments. She couldn't believe that one of her brother's children would cause such a rift in the family. But the real jaw-dropper came later that night. My newlywed cousin, the one who had started all this, showed up at our doorstep, tears streaming down her face. She confessed that she was in debt and had been using the wedding gifts to pay it off. She had been living a life she couldn't afford, trying to impress her friends with lavish parties and expensive clothes. She had seen our wedding as an opportunity to get a large gift that would help her financial situation. I was torn between anger and pity. This was the cousin who had always been the life of the party, the one who had convinced me to go on a spontaneous road trip across the country after high school. We had shared so many memories, and now she was standing in front of me, broken and desperate. We talked for hours that night. She apologized for her behavior and for putting such a strain on our relationship. She promised to make it right with the rest of the family and to start living within her means. Now, for the next story. I, 25-year-old female, worked for a university from the age of 18 to 21. For many years, I felt university wasn't for me. Although I had good grades, my self-esteem was pretty low, and I thought I wasn't good enough for university and couldn't even afford it. I worked as an assistant for various departments, and many of my colleagues who taught students said they could see my potential. They finally encouraged me to apply. I decided to apply for the university and got in. I was accepted onto 4 scholarships designed for students with lots of potential, so I no longer had to worry about applying for student loans and not being able to afford it. Last year, I was meant to be in my final year of university, and I should have graduated. However, a student was making up rumors about me and this lecturer having an affair, which didn't happen. The university soon picked up on these rumors and started their own investigation. At first, the lecturer and I had to stay separated, which meant I missed half the classes, as she was one of 2 who was teaching me for that year. 2 months later, the lecturer got suspended with full pay. 5 days later, the university sent me an email to my personal email account, informing me that I was being suspended, not allowed on university grounds, and not allowed to contact anyone at the university. The staff who were investigating these rumors fully believed that we were having an affair, and we were suspended for 9 months so they could find evidence of our affair. As a result of their 9-month investigation, I ended up failing the final year, and now I have to retake it. While suspended, these rumors about the affair were spreading around the campus fast, and everyone knew. I had a friend who I now consider my best friend, who made contact under a secret Snapchat account. He asked for my account, and he said he fully believed me, and started doing his own investigation to find out who it was. To keep it short, after speaking to various students, he finally found some evidence that it was a student who made up the rumors. He reported it to the university, providing concrete evidence, and took it to the investigation team. They closed the report and allowed us back to campus, but the student didn't get suspended or punished. All she was made to do is retake the 3rd and final year, and she had to pay for it, whereas I didn't. Now, I'm in class with her, and she struggles a lot. She keeps requesting my help due to me always understanding the assignments, and the fact that I know what to do. She's fed up with me saying no, and spoke to our former classmates, and now they are saying I'm a jerk because I'm keeping a grudge against her because of what she did, and the fact that I nearly lost a degree, which I haven't. They state I should help her out. Am I the idiot for refusing to help her when she nearly cost me a degree and a teacher her career? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. That's the scorpion that stings the fox because it's their nature, but in fact they missed and the fox swims off. The scorpion can't swim after all, screaming for the fox to save it. No. Why are none of these others offering her help? How many of their lives were impacted by her negligent and horrific accusations? You have no obligation to help, and every reason to avoid her. Anyone saying you're wrong for holding a grudge is not the type of people you want to deal with, because they have a skewed set of morals and no sense of proportion. It's your call, but not the idiot if you don't help. Comment 2. What? Wow. What a story. I'm very sorry for you. No, not the idiot. This person is objectively dangerous. Stay away for your safety. Think of the most neutral way to say that she really messed you over. And it's just a practical matter to stay away. No need to be nasty. It's sensible. How quickly the truth of that sinks in is not your concern. Now for the update. Hey everyone. A lot has happened since my last post. I wanted to give you all an update on the crazy situation at my university. So, after the whole mess with the rumors and the investigation, I was back on campus, trying to focus on retaking my final year. It was tough, not just because of the workload, but because I was in class with the same student who started the rumors about me and the lecturer. Let's call her Sarah for the sake of this story. Sarah was struggling big time. She kept asking me for help with assignments, but I kept turning her down. I mean, why should I help someone who almost ruined my life? But after I said no a few times, she started talking to our former classmates, and suddenly, I was the bad guy. They were all like, you should let it go and help her out. But I wasn't having any of it. Now, here's where things get even more twisted. Remember my best friend who helped me out by doing his own investigation? Well, he's been a rock for me through all of this. But I found out something about him that I never would have guessed. He had a thing for Sarah. Yeah, the same Sarah who caused all this drama. Turns out, while he was investigating, he got to know her and started to fall for her. He never told me because he knew how I felt about her. But as they say, the heart wants what it wants, and he couldn't help himself. He was torn between his loyalty to me and his feelings for her. One day, I caught them together at a coffee shop off campus. They were sitting close, laughing, and it looked like more than just a friendly chat. I felt so betrayed. Here was my best friend, the one person who stood by me, and he was getting cozy with the enemy. I confronted him later that day, and he came clean about everything. He said he was sorry, and that he never meant to hurt me. He explained that he started seeing Sarah in a different light after spending time with her. He believed she was genuinely remorseful about what she did, and that she deserved a second chance. I didn't know what to think. I was angry, hurt, and confused. Part of me wanted to cut them both out of my life, but another part of me wondered if I was being too harsh. After all, everyone makes mistakes, right? But wait, it gets even crazier. The lecturer who got suspended? She came back to teach this semester, and guess what? She and I had to have a meeting to clear the air before classes started. It was awkward, to say the least. She told me she held no hard feelings and that she understood why I kept my distance. During our talk, she dropped a bombshell. She had been going through a rough divorce at the time the rumors started. Her ex-husband was trying to use anything he could against her, and the rumors made it to the courtroom. She was fighting to keep custody of her kids, and the scandal at the university was the last thing she needed. I felt terrible for her. Here I was, thinking I had it bad, but she was dealing with so much more. We ended up bonding over the whole ordeal and decided to support each other moving forward. Now, back to Sarah. She was still struggling in class, and after everything that happened, I started to feel a little sorry for her. I didn't want to help her, but I also didn't want to be the reason she failed. It was a tough spot to be in. Then, one day, she approached me with tears in her eyes. She apologized for everything. She told me she was under a lot of pressure from her family to be perfect, and that she started the rumors because she was jealous of my success. She said she regretted it every day since, and that she understood if I couldn't forgive her. I was taken aback. I never expected her to own up to it like that. It didn't erase what she did, but it made me see her in a different light. I was still mad, but I started to think maybe I could help her, just a little. Not for her sake, but for mine, so I could move on and put this whole mess behind me. So, I agreed to help her with some study tips, nothing too involved, just enough to get her on the right track. It felt good to let go of some of that anger. But here's the twist. Just when I thought things were settling down, I found out that the university was launching another investigation. This time, it was about the scholarships I received. Someone had anonymously tipped them off, claiming I didn't deserve the scholarships, and that I got them through favoritism because of my supposed affair with the lecturer. I couldn't believe it. After everything, it was starting all over again. And the worst part? The evidence was pointing to Sarah as the one who made the anonymous tip. It was like a slap in the face. Here I was, trying to be the bigger person, and she was possibly stabbing me in the back again. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.